All right, we're live. Welcome to PJ and the Beard. This is our 19 conversation series. This is conversation number 25. And today we are going to be taking a look at maybe what's going to be happening next week and what happened last week, I guess. That's what we typically do on the weekends. So, I don't want to say hi to the guests today. I'm like, so how are you doing?
Right, yeah. So, I don't know, man. It's just like we're here in Pennsylvania, and it is sunny today, and it's pretty outside, but it's a little cold and a little chilly in my house that I'm not really inclined to do much about at the moment. So I have some of our merch on. I have a hoodie on, and I'm tempted to throw the hood up. It's just one of those days where I'm like, when does the day start? Oh my gosh, it's 4:30. I guess it should have started already.
I took the dog on a walk a little bit ago and went to look for my That Leslie Sound sweatshirt. And I called my wife. I'm like, I can't find it. Where is it? Because she was running something to her mother. You have to give an excuse to where somebody is if they're not at home right now. And
yes,
apparently the dog was laying on it and it was covered in hair, so she put it in the laundry.
Nice of her.
Tried to walk the dog in my flannel and I froze. I should have just put a jacket on.
That's
anyway,
cool. Yeah,
guitar stuff.
Yep.
Let's do pedal of the day then, because pedal of the day I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time on, but then we'll jump to the clip of the day, and that will lead us into some stuff for next week. So yesterday we were talking, so a little bit of a recap. We were talking to Jamie Stillman, and the idea of Leslie's came up, and he had asked and talked about. Apparently he's looking at a bunch of Leslie pedals, and you take from that for whatever you want.
Right.
What up, Brody? But he had mentioned that the one that he kind of likes the most right now, and the ones that he's been looking at, is this one right here. Okay. So that is the new Microvent by Neo Instruments. And then its sister pedal is the Microvent. This is the Microvent 16. This is the 122. So this would be horns and rotors. This would be more Stevie Ray. Yeah, this would be more Stevie Ray Vaughan.
It'd be like this, horns and rotors.
Yeah. No, this is just the rotor, right?
There's right. Yeah, right.
So both great pedals, both new, both very versatile. They have a lot of stuff that you can do set up with how the switch works. The switch thing is really cool. You can have them on all the time, and the switch just changes between fast and slow. So if you're using like a loop switcher with that works really well. You can do it where if you hold it for a couple seconds, it goes between fast and slow, or you have to hold it for a couple seconds to turn it on. You can get it set up the way you want to set it up and still be able to switch between fast and slow really intuitively with just one switch on it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so, I really did like the black one. That's the 122, right? Like, and it's kind of funny. Like, I have tremolo on my board, and Lord knows when we'll be playing through the board again. But it's funny because Jason and I, play together on Sundays, and not that he will never turn on the tremolo, but he covers some of that territory with Leslie and all of that. But if I were to put one on the board, which I could, I'd probably put that black one, the 122, on. It sounds really good. I mean, they both sound good, but I just more of the whole. I like that a little bit. In my opinion, my ear is a little more a full sound, a little more throbby because it has the drum and the horns. I really like that pedal. It's really nice.
And I would struggle between, if I was putting it on like the permanent board at the church that doesn't move, I would struggle between this and the Minivent, because the Minivent does have the two. It's basically this pedal with the two switches.
Right.
This has a little more knobs, easier to set up. But
because you have more of a permanent board situation, you have the perfect opportunity to use that Hughes and Kettner Rotosphere, which does sound magical in its own right.
Right, yes. Which is why these are still here.
Good night, Pete.
Yes, from down under. So, clip of the day, and I mean literally, we found this clip in like 30 seconds before this started. Uncle Brian, maybe you'll appreciate it. I don't know. And I've heard of this guy before. I haven't listened to a lot of them, but we're going to have on, I believe, Wednesday of next week, a guy by the name of Shane Spiel is going to be on the show. And Shane actually lives pretty close to us. We've been wanting to like go down and talk to him. Friends with him on Facebook. I've crossed paths with him before, but not real. I mean, not like we have a real super friendship or anything. I don't know him that well, but he's doing some really cool things. In fact, he put out relatively recently, last year, this book right here. It's called Making Poor Man's Guitars. And so it's all about like cigar box guitars and some other stuff, but really nice book, gets into all kinds of great stuff. Shows some, guitars and what they look like and some actual vintage ones. And I shouldn't say vintage, just like really old, like primitive is the word, right? So primitive guitars. In fact, at some point in time, I think he was probably well, let's do the clip first.
All right.
You cool with that?
Sure.
Which just means I got to click a whole bunch of buttons and try and not miss anything.
And
here, Reverend Peyton. Anybody familiar with Reverend Peyton? Here's the clip. One thing I noticed is I have that strap that he's wearing sitting in his drawer over there.
Nice.
That's that Buddy Guy strap I have that's signed by Buddy Guy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's
that's really cool. He's really comfortable playing it too. I was just distracted by, Brody and I used to go to the Philadelphia Guitar Show, right, together. And sometimes it was in this convention center. They'd have things like that, computers and guitars. Well, the one time it was guns and guitars, and I kind of feel like this clip is guns and guitars too. I was very distracted by the sun's out, guns out going there. The dude has crushed that cigar box.
So nice. There's actually a little bit of foreshadowing in this clip too to two guests, if you really think about it.
That's a true story.
One guest with the cigar box guitar, one guest with the
overalls,
right?
Yeah.
So Shane, I think Shane might have had something to do, because years and years ago, I mean, it's been a while. I've been in this house for that I'm living in now for 8 years, and this was done before we moved here. So 10 years or so ago, I did get that bug at one point, and there's a pickup in it, but it's floating around inside, and did try it out. Let's make the cigar box guitar, right? Very primitive, like my bridge. That's not the T6 or whatever that other one was called. That
put yourself big and get rid of the Reverend there. Sorry.
Ace Hardware bridge.
Can you put yourself in the center square so we can see it better?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. My old man eyes was like, hey, if he made that bigger, not me. Ooh, not that. There you go.
That's the Ace Hardware bridge.
Very nice.
Strap locks.
Monte Cristo. Nice choice.
That acoustic guitar, that Ibanez I showed the other day, I think those are the tuners. Those tuners were maybe pulled off of that guitar. I don't remember. But yeah, they're on backwards and they aren't on straight, and
it's part of the charm.
That is a metal nut, right? But so it's you get the cigar box guitar, you get 3 strings, you have no idea where your fret markers are. I think there's actually, I doubt you can see it, but there's actually somewhere right here above my finger some pencil marks. You take a pencil and you get the tuner and find out where the note is. And But I mean, it's cool. It's fun to play around with. I did notice the next, I think, age, the next contention, the next starting to bow, and so you can fool around with them. Anyway. Cigar box guitars. So Shane Steele is like the king of cigar box guitars, and he will be here Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the guy builds them, plays them. He does this thing called stubby slides, where he has. I mean, we need to talk to him, let him tell you about it. But all kinds of slide offerings, and it'll be a cool guy. It'll be cool.
So welcome into the Dog Paw.
Right.
Saying that Ben Combs is known to play a cigar box guitar as well, and Brian Landreth kind of chiming in saying, somebody that actually uses like a telly neck to make cigar box guitars.
That'd be cool. And once you put the frets on, you'd have to be a little more specific about where you put the bridge, I guess. But without the fret markers, when I go to Canada, there's a little guitar store in Brockville, Ontario. Might be called Mr. C's Music, and that guy sometimes has a few like oil can, like a cigar box guitar, but made with an oil can on the wall. And I've looked at those a couple times and have been close. Brody said he looks like he heads up his own security too.
Yeah, that beard made him look like he was in the witness relocation program, but.
So yeah, I think when we get Shane on, it's going to be talking about slides, different types of slides. It's going to be talking about cigar box guitars, different types of guitars. He was doing a little home kit build I saw on his Facebook page today, which made me think of asking him of a Steinberger guitar type of guitar, and I don't know. I think he's always tinkering. He wrote for. I think he wrote for Guitar Player magazine or something like that for a while, and just an interesting guy that's, I think will be a lot of fun to have on the show.
Nice. I look forward to it.
So that would be Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, we get the overalls.
Yes.
And we have to send out an apology to the Dog Paw for this one, but this is what it is. So Bosco France going to join us on Tuesday.
Probably one of the more, in some ways, in my opinion, one of the more unique PRS endorsed players. We saw him at BCR Music when they hosted a night with Bosco France, and brilliant slide player, right? And
oh my gosh, yes.
So it's going to be slide week. So, for me, it'll be a week of education.
Oh, for me too. Bosco is.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But the dude, I'm not sure. I'm going to, it's definitely overalls for him as well. And
bare feet.
Yeah, right. And so, and the funny thing is even though he is like an endorsed artist and a clinician, he still has that, I want to say it's like a 93, like maybe CE24 or something. It's a green guitar that he had, and maybe it got stolen and he got it back. But
it's a really interesting story. Well,
yeah, I don't want to steal it all, but
yeah,
I don't remember it well enough anyway, so it's going to be brand new. But like, he was fantastic. He did a clinic and played and kind of talked and was showing. Jason had a couple questions about slide, and he was kind of showing some things that Derek Trucks does, a little bit of a different approach. Of how he was using the slide over the frets, and interesting guy, great player. Hopefully, maybe he can play a little bit. It's always kind of dicey when we're using, this live medium here, but looking forward to talking. Really nice guy.
Playing can cut through for sure. He, you mentioned the Derek Trucks thing, and I see Brian now in the chat said he's been working on slide playing a lot more. So he was trying to show me this, and I still can't do it, but when you play slide, typically your slide is over the fret, right? Because if you think about it, when you're playing guitar and you press down a string, the notes coming from the string hitting the fret. So when you use a slide, you're getting rid of the frets. So you want to be kind of over top of the fret with the slide. So what he showed is that if you take the slide and you press hard enough to make the string hit the fret and then slide up the neck, and so you're actually bumping over all the frets with the slide as you do that, that was kind of a Derek Trucks, according to him, a trick by Derek Trucks where he gets that sound, the specific sound by doing that. And I had never heard of that, and I can't make sense of it on my own. But when he showed it to us, you were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's it. That's great. Okay, we get it." Great slide player, great guitarist, blues guy, So he's kind of in the world I like. We left that with his CD. His CD's great.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to that CD a lot after that.
That's Monday, right? Bosco Fans coming on Monday?
Tuesday. So Bosco's Tuesday. If everything works out, I mean, we have commitments and everything. I got to make the stuff and send out the links and everything, and who knows what will happen between now and then. But supposedly Tuesday, Bosco France, Shane Spiel on Wednesday, and then Monday. A lot of the people in this chat will know better than we know. We're gonna have Lawrence Petros will be here on Monday, so that breaks our golden rule.
Right, of not having someone's product.
Yeah.
But you've had interaction with him prior to this, and we were working on getting one of his pedals in. It just hadn't happened. And so, yeah, we're kind of having to suspend our own little rules. It's much better to have a conversation with somebody when they're like, "Hey, I love your product." We love to be like, "Hey, I love your product, and this is how we know who you are," and hold up the pedal or whatever. But given the current situation, we'd love to talk to anybody. As far as we don't have your stuff, we're interested in what you have. We're going to get you on and find out more about you. And when some people are like, in talking to Jamie yesterday from Earthquaker, I mean, technically they're shut down from a shipping perspective, right? But they're still building. So there's kind of a mixture of people who are completely shut down as far as not shipping. Some people are still building. Some people are building in a different way. So, whenever the all clear siren is wailing away, hopefully we can get some things in that we want to get in and talk about them. But in the meantime,
yeah, Lawrence said that he's being a one-man kind of show. He's working. Mm-hmm. He's working pretty hard right now. But yeah, that's what it is. Mike Roadblock, what's up, man? Is that a new name for us?
He was on yesterday, so we didn't get to kind of go down the whole roster, and we apologize for those of you who joined in yesterday. We tried to kind of give the overall blanket at the end and kind of catch people at the beginning. But once that conversation kind of got rolling with Jamie, and there weren't a super amount of questions from the chat, we didn't get to everybody's name because it ended up being a conversation between the three of us. But yeah, I think Mike was in yesterday.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for stopping back, man.
Nice. And then I remember Brody's comment there. Tried the 3 3/4 harmonic thing you talked about on Thursday. It's true, not only with Jetpack, but Van Halen, Pound Cake Riff. I think that's what Sebastian Falvo was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting guy too, right? Like, here's this 23-year-old younger guy, Berkeley grad, great player. Hopefully some of you've gone and checked him out since the show because, again, he just had some nylon string guitar that he was playing, but great player.
Yeah, he's well, darn it, he's cost me to spend money.
Yeah. We did thank him for that too.
Right. But he's, I think a guy to watch. He's graduated from Berkeley. He has the touch.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. He said that's kind of how he got into Berkeley. It wasn't like, oh, I spent all this time learning how to sight read music and learning this. And, like from a real technical standpoint, he's kind of like, I got him because that thing, they saw that thing. And,
right.
I mean, he didn't say it about himself in so many words, but I mean, that's really what I took away from that, is the guys over there recognized that he had that thing. And you guys, you've all seen the thing, right? You go watch a couple guitar players play, and especially like at a jam or something, and you get that guy up there that is technically has the knowledge that you only wish to have. You know, he can talk musical knowledge and theory and play at lightning fast speeds and everything, but tone is non-existent and feel is not existent. And then you got the guy that like plays a 3-note solo but makes you want more because there's something to that tone and feeling and expression, right? So I think I feel like he's probably a guy to watch, you know? Young guy moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like who knows, in 10 years from now he might remember when we had you know who on. And
yeah. I found what I liked about the Sebastian Falbo rabbit hole, if you will, because we knew him from the Love Pedal demos, right? So when we're gonna have him on, we always take a little. Believe it or not, despite what it appears, there is a little show prep that does happen. So yeah, that's right. On the days we have guests, we're on our at least C+ game. Today we're barely have a pulse, but it was really interesting. I felt like I learned a lot about Berkeley, as much as I learned about him. And then for him to tell the story of, wanting to go to Berkeley since he was like 10. And then when he goes to do his audition for Berkeley, he decides to play a Jeff Beck tune. Like, who would think that, like, this is what you're going to play, right? You would think it was some kind of canon in D or something like that.
Right.
And as fortune would have it, the guy who was, like, evaluating him was, like, his, Berkeley camp counselor who loved Jeff Beck. So, that certainly was helpful. But then as he's talking, he's like, yeah, that guy was the same guy. He's a great player. And he gave us his name, and I wrote it down somewhere. But he's like, he ran, like, the Hendrix lab and the Jeff Beck lab. I'm like, what? Like, you put on, like a fringe leather, lab coat and go into the Hendrix lab? What does the Hendrix lab look like? It was
it's tie-dyed.
Yeah. You put on like an afro, like when we saw, Stanley Jordan play Hendrix. And it's just, I guess because I don't know that much about Berkeley, and I think about Berkeley and Juilliard and things like that. And so Berkeley was like, it sounded really interesting experience for him. And then he was kind of mortified, I guess, in some ways, might be a strong word, that his like senior recital was still out there online. But like, you just go watch his senior recital and he's playing like Al Di Meola stuff and Jeff Beck stuff. And he's got the band around him, obviously, is unbelievable because they're his fellow Berkeley, co-eds. And so interesting. Great to have a conversation with him. We always like the pre and post conversation with these people too. So, maybe we'll tap into him sometime in the future, but it was good to have him on. So that was a very long recap but I just found the Berkeley stuff interesting personally.
Brian said Game Changer update. It's going to take a lot of time to figure out everything it does. It does a lot more than you think. Yeah. I mean, when Pat and I went through it, it's kind of like you find, and we're really guilty of this and we freely admit it. And this is why Brian and us get along so well, right? Because Brian likes to, get the deep dive, figure out everything it can do. And we're kind of like, where's that sound I like?
Right. Oh, there it is. Never touching the pedal again.
Right. But when we went through it, every time you switch the knob, I was like, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, I loved every part of it. And I loved the direct drive, but I really see a very big possibility for me being the Game Changer and the direct drive being the two pedals I have on my board.
Yeah, I mean the Game Changer, it's at least three of his pedals in one enclosure, right? With three different EQ settings, high and low gain, and the controls on there. So
yeah, it's that's cool. And I haven't said it, but I should say it. There's two King of Tone pedals over here. Both of them, I think I waited on the waiting list for over 2 years for.
Right.
And I got the first one and thought, this is it. I'm going to get on the waiting list again. So I have one for both boards. And I still use the Barber most of the time. Yeah, Mike Roblox said Game Changer Bigsby, and I know what you're talking about. Have you seen that, Pat? The Bigsby pedal? So Game Changer is the company that does that pedal plus, the sustain pedal that looks like piano sustain.
Yeah.
And they do that crazy distortion pedal with like the lightning bolt in it.
Yeah.
I think at NAMM they were talking about doing a Bigsby pedal. Like
I think I did see that now, yeah, right.
Right. So that will be interesting.
Yeah.
It looks like a Bigsby too, right?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was an actual Bigsby.
I think it was like a collaboration between Bigsby and them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So that's coming out soon, Mike? It's also interesting to hear him say that the love pedals need to be played loud. That's the first comment he ever made on our channel. Yeah. Especially my understanding is those COT, the Church of Tone pedals. Like the one that Josh Smith has, that's like his signature pedal, or the one that he uses all the time. I've been so close to buying that, but whenever I watch Josh talk about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, I mean it has to be loud." And I actually didn't go for it because I felt like I'll never be able to get it that loud.
Right. I meant to ask Sebastian if he had a Believe pedal when we were talking to him.
Mike said, "I don't have a teen arm on my axe," and then he corrected it to trem. But I thought first I was like, "Oh, that's a new one. I've never heard of a teen arm." I think it's all the teenagers get into a lot of guitar.
That would be funny to have an arm that looks like a bare arm, like a mannequin. You grab the hand and shake it when you want to. Yeah, it's Saturday, people. You're welcome.
I've had about like 8 other thoughts about this teen art thing that's appropriate for this channel.
Exactly.
Yes, that's great.
When it comes to branding, do I do too much? I'm just curious. Is it a little much? The level of branding that happens. That's why Jason tries to find anything non-branded to wear because he knows I'm going to be like a NASCAR over here.
Well, and I have the we could put that up over in the top corner there, or
do it.
We could.
I like the other one. It's a little more.
Put that over there, but I'm like, dude, it's like you got like 8 things on the thing. I can't. I'll let you overbrand.
That's right. I'm the selfie with the celebrity over branding guy. You're the $3 Walmart black T-shirt.
It's not. There's 7.
7. Sorry, I didn't want to. I just try to make you know you're Sam's Club. I just want to let people know you're a man of the people. Like you're down to earth. We should try to. It's too bad that there's this whole thing going on because we should try to get some coveralls and wear them when Bosco comes on.
That'd be great. Everybody should. He probably won't have them on that day. Now that
yeah.
We really should try to have like overalls on.
All right.
That'd be great if we all did the show in overalls. Unfortunately, I can't run out to Walmart or whatever. I don't even know. Tractor Supply and buy a pair.
It's true. It's nearby. Yeah, I can't wait to. It's be interesting to talk to him. Like I said, he was really great that night when we went to that clinic, and really nice. Hung around and talked and all that. So, Guitar Hack chiming in. I admit, Hack, I got to see your first half hour with David Barber, and then I have to go back and watch the replay. But hopefully that went well for you. Here we go.
Yeah, so I think every pedal has one great sound, maybe more, lots of shades of gray. That's it. But the solution of 2 large pedal. 40 pedals. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, wow, a lot of pedals. We've kind of found we've only run into one pedal that we sat down here and we were going to do an episode on it, and we sat down here and played with it for probably 40 minutes. And at the end of the 40 minutes, just went, no.
Was that mine?
Yes.
Yeah, it was my pedal. I had it before the show. And we're trying to it was supposed to have a shimmer setting, and I don't know what videos I watched to think that was the solution, because when I got it, I'm like, that is not, it's kind of like, that's not the shimmer I'm looking for. And
well, we even tried let's avoid the shimmer and just do the reverb or something.
Right
It had 3 or 4 different settings on it, like a hall, plate, and a shimmer or something like that. I don't remember.
And it's from an inexpensive pedal maker that I have plenty of other pedals from there. I have 3 other pedals, and they were kind enough to help us with one for the Leslie series. But that one just kind of fell flat, and so it really wasn't for the show anyway, and I ended up selling it. So, or did I sell it yet?
Yeah. I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's gone. No.
Turned it into something
you
more
feel
practical.
bad about like, oh man, I hate this pedal. I don't like the way it
Yeah.
sounds. Let's sell it and give it to somebody else to hate. But maybe somebody that bought it liked it. You never know.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. So the original box and everything, it just didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And like I said, even after the fact, I went back on the only thing worse than going down a YouTube rabbit hole is to go down that same hole again. that there's so many holes to go down. Don't go down that one. But I went back down that to try to recreate what did I hear that I thought that this was the answer, and I never could find it. So we sold it and probably bought something for the show, whatever. But
it was bad.
It was
bad.
For us.
I mean, like you couldn't. Yeah, for us, for what we would do. But I mean, even to like try and like, okay, well, let's just get a simple reverb out of it.
Yeah.
You're like, because I think we did right after that, we did that episode where we had 3 or 4 kind of inexpensive reverbs. We had the Earthquaker Dispatch Master that we showed yesterday on it. We had the Boyang. We had the Boyang. I forget what, and like 2 other reverb pedals on it. One of them,
Love pedal. Yeah.
We had the Love pedal, and then maybe one of the TC Electronics or something.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't include it on that. I mean, it was like, so. I mean, yeah, I agree. Who was it that said that? Paul. I think we agree with you. Like almost every pedal we've ever had, we've been able to find something we like with. We did all those different Leslie pedals, and I thought we would hate some of them. And I think there was maybe one pedal that we were like, 1 or 2 that we were like, with so many other options, this is just not kind of in the running for us. But they still had some good sounds in them, and we still, they would work for somebody. But I'll tell you what, man, that one reverb pedal, we couldn't do it.
Yeah, there's only been 2 pedals. There was another one for me. It was in that Behringer line. It was, we do these unfair comparisons. we did the Tajima against American Deluxe Stratocaster, right? And then we also ended up doing. Now this wasn't unfair. We had my original 808 and the Behringer TO 800 to compare. Those 2 tube screamer things were pretty close, but in that same series, Jason has an original DM2, 2.
Oh yeah, I know you're going.
Original DM2, and we had the Behringer equivalent, and I just could not get down with that Behringer. But so the 2 pedals that we really didn't like were like super kind of inexpensive pedals that just didn't work, whether it was because, and it wasn't even just because we compared it to the DM2. I just didn't.
But that one wasn't as bad. We did do that. We did have that on the, and we said at the end, that we didn't like it as much. But when you're used to the MXR carbon copy, I'm used to the DM2. I think we ended with, if you have never played an analog delay like the carbon copy or the DM2 or something like that, for $30, if that's what you can afford,
yeah,
you'd probably be happy with it.
Right.
But it's not the same as, which, like you said, unfair comparison.
Yeah, Brody, it's true. It didn't reverberate with me. I wanted to say something about Brian's comment, and even kind of going back to the comment, interesting having talked to David Barber, right? And then also having talked to Jamie Stillman from Earthquaker. Like, they want to make a pedal that has more than just that one spot, right? Like, David Barber's like, I don't want to build a pedal that sounds great at 12, everything at 12. I want the whole range of the tone to do something that sounds good, the whole range of the gain that does something. And that was sort of Jamie Stillman's philosophy as well. And so, yeah, Barber's pedals are pretty deep, especially for like all analog pedals, what they can do. But yeah.
Guitar Hack said we should try an LPD pedal. And we already talked about that actually today, because we've actually tried to get one in and stuff, but Lawrence has agreed to be on the show. Oh, next Monday or Monday, he's going to be on Monday. So yeah. We've actually had some talks with Lawrence about his pedals, and we just haven't been able to get that worked out yet. Partially because the one that we really wanted to try, he hasn't built yet, but was supposed to have been built back in like December, and then got put on hold. And we'll find out Monday what's going on with that.
All right.
I wanted to ask too, Paul, your Stompbox Stills. Is that I guess you can't put a link in the.
He could instant message to you, right? Facebook.
Yeah, it was. Well, I went right like a minute before we started. You had that comment up, and I went out and searched that, and it came up with a blog. But I just wanted to make sure that I was at the right place. So if you have something going on, like a website where you're talking about Stompboxes or something, you should send that over. You could just message that through Facebook or something like that. That'd be awesome. Or just tell me that I was in the right place and go back. Yeah, Lauren. Well, and Hack, it's interesting because you had Barber on the show, and after seeing him over here, and we definitely learned about Lawrence Petros over in your channel and seeing him in the chat all the time, and over on Ben Combs' channel. Actually, I have so much respect for Lawrence. Ben Combs was. I've told Pat's heard this. He's here we go.
I've never told the same story twice.
Right. Ben Combs was interviewing another pedal manufacturer.
Oh, right.
And one of the people in the comments said, "It's so great that we have two major pedal manufacturers in here right now." And the guy that Ben was interviewing said, "Who's the other one?" And Ben said, "Oh, he's talking about Lawrence Petros from Lawrence Petros Designs." And the other guy was like, "Oh, he's not a pro or whatever. He's not there yet." And then Lawrence handled it so well. Like, he was so like gracious about it and whatever. He was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not there yet," or whatever. And I thought, put it this way, at that point I knew who would get my money between the two of them. So, did your mic just cut out, Pat? Oh, you're muted. Okay. Who's it? Brian saying it was him. Was it you that made the comment, Brian? Stuart, 30 minutes late. That's cool, man. Thanks for stopping by. I don't care when you come.
Stu Rat.
Yeah, Stu Rat. In the house. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention earlier that somebody had typed. That maybe that was it.
Yeah, I was over here futzing around because we talked about Jason and I talked about a guitar of the day, and I decided it's Stratter Day, but again, with not having everything here, and I think the two Strats that are in the house I've already talked about. So, and when David Barber's on, he's like, "Oh, sometimes you guys should like talk about more inexpensive guitars or things that maybe you'd be willing to mod or whatever." But so I have a 2007 Fender Mexican Stratocaster that is super minty fresh, and the first Tele that took me down the Telecaster journey was actually Brody has one that I kind of had. I swear, I think I had it for like 2 years, and then ended up giving it back to him. But then I bought that one and played it for a very long time. So I like that. And then since then, I ended up with a Fender American Deluxe Strat that's not here with me. But I think I was teaching guitar lessons at a time for a friend of ours who we've talked about before, and towards the end of the operation of his shop, I decided to be like, I'm showing my age, like Wheel of Fortune, where they'd spin the wheel and they'd actually buy the prizes, and they'd be like, "Okay, I'll take the ceramic Dalmatian for $500 and put the rest on a gift certificate," right? So instead of taking actual money from the lessons, I took stuff. So that was one of the stuffs I got, but it's nice. I really like it. That would be one that maybe I'd be willing to explore, switching out the pickups or something like that. But so 2007 Telecaster.
And that's cool. I'm still on my pickup hunt, but we're maybe getting closer. Maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Hack said, "So who am I not going to ask to be on my show at PJ and the Beard?" You know what? I'll be honest with you, Hack. Part of me would not mention his name on the show just because I don't want to burn bridges. The other part of me is not going to mention his name on the show because I don't remember who it was. We'll say, I mean, that's and I'm sorry, like I remember Lawrence Petros's name after I saw the interview that either Hack or Ben or whoever did an interview with him that I saw. I remembered his name because I thought, well, that's a cool guy. And I think people see David Barber that are seeing him for the first time and go, well, that's a cool guy. Or any of the guys that we've talked to so far, Jamie Steelman and Drew Swindler and Rick Matthews and whatever. This guy was so freaking arrogant about not only that comment, but a couple other times. And one of the things that Pat and I have learned from talking, I mean, it's kind of cool. We're getting some insight into this industry that we never would have had. These guys get along. They call each other. They talk to each other. They're competitors, yet they help each other out. This guy was like, I'm in direct competition with these people. Why would I help them out? And I just, not that I disagree with them. I mean, like, okay, you're in business to make money. And yeah, I get it. But the way he talked about it, the arrogance, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, well, I don't like guitar players. If you find a really great guitar player and they turn out to be a jerk, there's other really great guitar players.
Yeah, and it was off camera, but it's not like a trade secret. But it was interesting that Jamie Stillman was talking about that he was actually in like managing bands and promotions and doing graphic arts and stuff like that. And he's just like, for me to collaborate and have conversations with other pedal builders, it's just the way it was in the music world, right? Maybe you're at a show that there's 3 acts and the one act that you have representing is there. You're all there early for setup and sound check. He says, we just stand around and talk to each other. We weren't like competing with each other necessarily. We're all trying to get on tour and get our names out there. But he goes, just to hang out with other people that do the same thing that you do and exchange ideas and talk was like totally natural. He goes, that's the way I come to the pedal world. And he said most people are warm to that idea and some aren't. But anyway.
Yeah, Brian said the bad part is he makes really good pedals. You know what? I'll never know, I guess. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. John Cusack was also cool. Yeah, John Cusack, very, very cool. Yeah. And Jamie, was that afterwards that Jamie was talking about? Yeah. He said the same thing that we said. People don't realize how tapped into the pedal world John Cusack is.
Yeah.
His hands, I guarantee, whoever said they have 2 pedal boards with 40 pedals on them each, you have something that John Cusack's hand was in, probably.
Several somethings.
Yeah, most of us probably, whether it's just the enclosure, help with design, parts, manufacturing. John Cusack's hands is in like everything. I missed where Stuart said that the gas got the best of him and he ordered the Agile guitar. I've seen those. They make some. Remember he was looking for the cheaper Les Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, that might have been a really good score there.
What's hilarious is in my Facebook feed, in my YouTube feed, our collective YouTube feed, after we talked about that, the next day, 9 inexpensive Les Paul copies came up. I'm like, oh my gosh, Big Brother is definitely listening.
Wasn't that guitar that was at that noteworthy music store in Mechanicsburg? Wasn't that an act that I was looking at that kind of had that almost Jerry vibe to it?
I remember the guitar. I don't remember what
I think it was.
Okay.
There's some cool stuff for them as axles. Guitar Hack said, thanks for hooking him up with Barber, by the way. It's that collaboration thing, right? I mean, right. We had hardly any subscribers. You had us on the show. That helped out. And you do a good show over there. And, you have a pretty loyal following of people over there. Why wouldn't we help you get Barber? We want to see Barber do well because we love what Barber's doing. So why wouldn't we, right? We want that to happen. I
just love the evolution of David Barber on YouTube, right? Because when we first started talking to him, he really hadn't done a whole lot. And but when he was on Hack's show he kind of had the lighting just right, kind of had this black background. He looked like an 80s album cover. I took a screenshot and meant to send it to David Barber, telling me he's really up in his YouTube game. It looked really good.
Yeah. Well, behind the scenes knowledge, he had a light above his desk, right? And he had a piece of
What, bubble wrap or something?
of foam or bubble wrap or something over his light to diffuse. I mean, that guy, like, there's a mad scientist brilliance there. I don't know if you're on, Dave, but if you are, we appreciate it.
Yeah, Jamie Stillman was interesting. Very interesting. I look forward to playing the Hummingbird. We talked again, it's kind of hard. Sometimes it gets blurry for us what was in the pre-conversation, what was in the conversation, what was in the post-conversation, but anxiously awaiting to try out the Hummingbird that sort of came right around the time this whole quarantine thing went down. So
like I said, such a good interview series. Thanks, man. We've been really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Came for the Pigtronics Rototron, stayed for the great interviews. Great. The Rototron, I just watched that episode again today because we were talking about that with Stillman yesterday. The end of that Rototron episode where we play with the expression pedal, move it back and forth, and then go to stereo and do it again. That pedal is just so.
And that was with you only, I think, at the time using one expression pedal, right? Because between us we have a couple, but sometimes they're not compatible, and I think yours was not with you, and yeah, that was only controlling one of those features.
Yeah. Do you know anyone that does review videos in the Dallas area?
Not yet.
No. Still working on getting Brian Wampler. Yeah, man. When we interviewed him for the interview series, which this idea was, the interview series kind of led to this idea on steroids. Brian's a fun guy to talk to.
Well, it was really nice because we had done the interview series kind of using the same technology, but we just didn't do it live with the questions. That because several of those people had done that with us first, they were more apt to come back and do it again and then do the live stream. So it was really nice for those that we've kind of double dipped with so far. And, but, in this situation that we keep talking about, Wampler in his exchanges with Jason is just like, I'm kind of back to building hands-on right now with pedals and kind of busier than I thought.
Yeah, so. I got the feeling, it might have just been the nice letdown too, but I got the feeling, I'm actually looking to see what he said.
Why don't you share your screen? I'm just kidding. Stuart, if you're talking about us, we are in central Pennsylvania, which is not the music mecca of the world with Nashville, but our buddy Brody is in Nashville that's on here, and then that's where Sebastian is currently living, so Falbo, who we interviewed, and so we are not. We are here in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Paul. Brian Wampler was great because sometimes he does when he kind of takes a deep dive into the nerdiness of it. His personality does show through, but maybe not the way you would think. But man, when we interviewed him, it was so much fun.
Who's that? Wampler?
Yeah, and then Wampler was like JHS. Josh Scott is doing the whole rock and roll trivia thing on Instagram and inviting people in, and he had Wampler on, and Wampler was loose as a goose that day too, so it was good. But
yeah, Paul said that he's done like 1,156 pedals. Wow, that's great. Some of them can barely speak English, but they're great guys. That's why this guy hasn't been on the show, right? Because
he was
one of the first guys we talked to about interviewing, and he was like, he's not confident enough in his English to do it. So we almost. I wanted to get a German translator.
I think Brody probably knows a German translator because the company he works for was based in Germany. Maybe he can hook us up with a translator. We'll get Guido on.
No, Brody's in Nashville, who's in the chat. He's a friend of ours, but we're in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Brody said, but PJ has met more famous people in Nashville than I have. Brody, you can't take him anywhere, can you? It's like there's a famous person, he's gone. He's got the cell phone on his front.
Well, it was funny, like. But no, you know what's really funny about that is like Facebook is more into the like here's your memories or whatever. But every once in a while, Instagram will say here's your photo from 1 year ago, right? So this was the like April 13th or something like that. And I guess about a year ago, that's when the Artisan Guitar Show would have been here in Harrisburg, and Jason and I sort of ventured out with a camera and the agenda of like, can we hook up with some people? Well, Brent Mason happened to be there. And so I chatted with him for a little bit and had the obligatory picture taken with him. The very same day that popped up as my memory, my friend Sal Oliveri, who we've had on the show before, was doing some tracking, and he was using Brent Mason that day. So he posted a picture of he and Brent Mason that day, the same day that my picture of Brent Mason came up that day. So apparently April 13th is Brent Mason Day. So mark your calendars. April 13th every year, Brent Mason Day. So
Mike said Wampler's good at describing things at a deep level, making it seem simple. The sign of a master. Yeah. Like he gave us the best description of a harmonic tremolo out of anybody that we like.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and watch that again when we get into the tremolo series.
Yes. But yeah, he is really good at that. He's really good at breaking stuff down.
So this is the craziest question ever, Paul Ewing. Reviewed 1,156 pedals. What are a couple that stand out to you? That maybe you didn't know anything about them and you got one and you played it. And which one stood out to you and are on your two? You're the one I think said 2 pedal boards, 40 pedals each. Or some of those pedals on those boards?
Yeah, what's the one you never get rid of?
Right.
That's why he's thinking or writing that down. No Cover Charge mentioned that he has the Hummingbird, the Westwood, the Palisades, and the Avalanche Run, which is interesting because 2 of those, the Hummingbird and the Avalanche Run, are 2 of the pedals that Jamie said he has on his board. And I want the speaker cranker now. I want the one knob wonder that, here's the guy that owns Earthquaker, can build whatever he wants, has built whatever he wants, and his favorite pedal is a one knob overdrive, not a boost.
That he stopped building.
Yeah. And he said that it's almost cartoonish. Let me see if I can pull that up while we're waiting for that other answer. Because he said it's almost cartoonish, and it is. It's funny. Let me find it. Speaker cranker. Actually, you know what? And that might not even be on their webpage anymore because he said it was discontinued, didn't he?
Right. I think recently did it, yeah.
I think you can still get to it if you do like a specific, because I think I did a specific search for it.
Right. So yeah, appreciate all the comments about the series. It's been sort of building the plane while we fly it, lots of irons in the fire, until like yesterday, we're like, what exactly are we doing next week? And then, we have 3 confirmed people and many, many other irons in the fire that have agreed in principle to do it. So Jason does a great job of putting out the little thumbnails and the teasers for that. So keep looking. So it's Stu-Rat.
Stu-Rat with the comment on the most controversial pedal ever made. I was going to get one too, Stu-Rat, but I didn't think it'd go over well on the board, the permanent board at the church that we play at.
Yeah. Although I have a Voodoo Lab pedal power and a Buddha Wah, so I mean, we're already Voodoo and Buddha. They're at church with me every week. So
yeah,
go out and buy his.
Yeah. It does. It says repeat after me. The speaker cranker is not an overdrive. Is an overdrive, not a boost. And that's awesome.
Maybe you and Mike Roadblock can come up with some trade.
Wait I don't have to disinfect things before the guy, the UPS guy comes and rings the doorbell, and I open the door and I feel like it's a terrorist on my front. He's like, here. Like, look, you just lay it on the ground. I got to give it 48 hours to disinfect before I pick it up.
Yeah, when I first donned a mask, I was just like, am I going to buy stuff at the grocery store? Am I robbing the grocery store? What am I doing? And I was thinking this the other day because my parents live a couple blocks away, and we've sort of been spending time together because we've been in this whole thing together for the last month. And so I put on a little mask and I walk over and I just pass people walking dogs. And I'm like, what do you think the dogs are thinking with all these people with masks on? Like this person had like a 120-pound German Shepherd, and I gave them a wide berth, right? And I'm wearing a mask. I can kind of see the dog looking at me. And when we got past, I could hear her. She'd be like, good boy, good boy. I'm like, oh, yes, good boy. Thank you so much. I don't want to. So the poor dogs are probably like, what are these people doing?
Is Mike, is that the one with the green tape on it that says crank ER? Is that yours? So, yeah, your wife works in the ER. Well, I mean, I have a science. I don't know. I try to listen to the scientists, not everybody else. So, people are. If the whole world is worried enough to shut down, then I guess I'm going to be concerned about it. Where I'll just go with it. We try to avoid that talk.
Right. It looks like we may have, Jason. I may have brokered a deal for you for the pedal.
Yeah, I'll make you a deal. Oh, that's just what I need. I need a deal. Maybe. I'll send you a message, maybe. I keep going back to, man, if the guy at Earthquaker says it's his favorite pedal, maybe it would be.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because we didn't even ask him, like, hey, pick your favorite pedal, pick a pedal you want to push or whatever. And that's the one he ended up talking about. He's like, it's probably the simplest pedal I've ever made, most misunderstood pedal I ever made, but it's the one that's always on my board.
Here you go. He says, any pedal made by Tech and Tone, the Turbo Nona is my fave out of the 20 I use every day. Fabio's in the UK, super nice guy too. Lawrence Marshall pedals. Our killer.
Nice. So,
Tech and Tone. I keep writing things down, and then
I know I do too. I have this little from one of my 7,000 hotel stays traveling, but I do have some of the notes still from Sebastian's comments about his one professor there at college and that. But the other time people were hitting us with, I think when it was David Barber was hitting us with some names I wrote down. I have no idea what I did with that piece of paper. So. Well, so did we ever get an answer from Paul whether you were in the right spot or you want to push people towards? I mean, if you've done 1,156 pedals, I imagine you probably have a relatively robust YouTube channel. Maybe people should go check it out.
Well, I think he has. I mean, it looks like it's a blog.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's this. You tell us, Paul. Is this your page? Yeah, Paul Ewing right here at the top. I mean, we are that intelligent. I mean, we are that internet sleuths over here. Yeah. That's the name, big letters at the top of the page. So everybody, here, let's do this. Go check Paul's page out. We're gonna go check Paul's page out. So I'm gonna stick the link here. It's stompboxsteels@blogspot.com. Like you said, he's done over 1,000 pedals and from all over the world. So apparently he has a pretty deep knowledge of what's out there. Just looking at what's going on. Look at that. Links to some videos that are out there on him. That's cool stuff, man. Velocity, new audio technologies. Looks like little tubes in there, maybe.
Mission engineering. Yeah. Oh boy, and we have our daily thing we call an hour of distraction. I think that's more than an hour of distraction right there. Let's get it.
Yeah. Pedal Pal FX or All Killer. You should get Lewis on your show. Pedal Pal. I'm writing down Pedal Pal. Pedal Pal FX. Lewis. If you know Lewis and you want to hook us up, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
Well, you know, Stuart, I don't know about missing out. If you got a Fender Mustang, it probably has some cool. That has effects built into it, right? So that, I mean, play with the ones that are in there and find out what you like and stuff before you go out and spend a bunch of money on that, or try some of the cheap stuff that's out there first, you know, that you don't have to spend a lot of money on. But I don't think you're missing out on anything. Play the guitar, have fun. Yeah, man. Fine. I mean, pedals as a whole, like, oh gosh. it's a serious. It could be. It's a relatively inexpensive way to meet the gas fix, the gear acquisition syndrome that people have. Right. You can go buy a pedal easier than you can go buy a guitar.
True story.
And if you have if you have a solid state amp that has effects built in, I would play with those effects and see what I like, and think about, like, what would you upgrade first? Would you go for a whole bunch of pedals, or would you go for an amp maybe that's more of a tube amp with a, that you could then add some pedals to? Because you can get a relatively, if you go like the PV Bandit or the PV Classic 30s or the Fender Hot Rods or something like that are, you could go up to a tube amp relatively cheap too. I mean, you buy 5 pedals and you could have bought a tube amp. I don't know. I don't think you're missing out.
He said he'd make some fake stomp boxes to stomp on it so it look like a pro. I'd say, what if you can find enclosures to make fake stomp boxes? We got some real pedal builders who probably buy them from you.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're at about an hour and 2 minutes here, which that actually, a lot of times that flew by faster than normal.
Oh, I see on the chat we have a question from One Boogie Boy. Will there be a show tomorrow?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well,
we took a break last week. I think it was Easter. We took a break at Easter.
Yeah, we didn't do Easter.
I mean, that didn't keep Josh Scott and Brian Wampler from playing a game show on Easter. But I don't know. We're the mics might go silent tomorrow. I don't know. This is how planned out we are, right? Like trying to build content for next week, and I don't know.
I know I got some work to do because I got to put all those videos, all the back end of the videos together so I can send out all the invitations and stuff to the guys that we have next week. But if we get all that done, I don't know, maybe a short. I don't know.
Probably around 3:00 tomorrow. We'll be texting each other. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. You want to do a live stream? Sure. I'll turn the lights on and turn the camera on. That's fine. No problem.
Mike said take a break. Maybe.
Depends
if I get the dog walked.
Right. What depends what the weather is. And
it really is as much as we would like to have you believe that we are doing this 19 conversations, an hour of distraction to provide people with something that they can do for an hour during this time of social distancing. It probably is a little selfish in that it's maybe more for us, because it gives us something to do too. So, right. There are 97 pedal builders in Brazil alone. Holy cow.
Well, we already have people there because of Tajima. It's good for.
So Hack said, good catching up with you guys. Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by, Hack. We'll see you soon. guess we'll see you all soon. If we don't see you tomorrow, which is up in the air, if we don't see you tomorrow, we will definitely check out. Make sure you check out Lawrence Petros on Monday. He's doing awesome stuff. We can't wait to talk to him because he's like, I mean, his name's everywhere lately.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely check out Bosco France on Tuesday because he's, in addition to being an incredible guitar player, super nice guy.
Right.
Really nice guy. And then on Wednesday, Shane Spiel will be interesting. So slide on over for that one. Yeah, I think that's it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're almost at that 1,000 people, which I have no idea what that means for us,
right.
other than it was kind of like a neat goal. So help us meet that. Like Pete said, hit the thumbs up. We'd love that too. Whatever. We're just happy that you stopped by. I guess. With that,
I am the ever over-branded PJ on behalf of the beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. It's the equivalent of our big distortion feedback.